Welcome to the SVG TV News for Wednesday, February 15th. I'm Kyle Cato with the details. It was a busy day at the cruise ship berth today as Port Kingstown had 3 cruise ships anchored with thousands of tourists. As we hear in this report, while taxi operators are happy for the many tourists, they feel slighted.
The ships in today were the Main Shift 2, SS Splendor and the Royal Clipper. The majority of the tourists on board the Main Shift 2 were from Germany. Hundreds of passengers utilized the large buses offered by the agents. Many also toured by sea, and others walked it. This time around, there were also cyclists. This is also the time when taxi operators cash in, but not so much as they would like.
Taxi to the beach!
This is according to the 2 presidents of the taxi associations in SVG.
It is not always you see 3 ships means it's all fruitful for the taxi drivers, but we still have to wait for the agents and the tour operators to get their persons first and leave, and then after the other people started coming out, we then play our trade. There are times for the season when we had about 3 or 4 times we had a good sellout where all the taxis get up, but there are times when we have 3 ships and we still have taxis in the yard and that didn't get any jobs.
7 taxi, but all of them will not work today, basically. Because during the course of the day, for both association, all taxi doesn't always get a job every day. We have what we call a rotation basis, where we split the groups up in 4 groups. So today's rotation 4 for my group and rotation 3 for his group. So the first set of persons in the rotation is probably will be like about 36 persons in total will allow to get inside of the yard first and to get a job. And then anybody else behind that will actually get a job after, or to get a job on the outside.
The taxi operators say it is a hustle for them.
It is a mix. When you have too many old persons on a ship, it's become very difficult for us because they buy most of the tote on ship. If you have a middle class or younger persons who are adventurous, they'll come out and try and get their own taxi to go and do their own trips and so on. So that's a better situation for us.
The taxi operators say there is room for improvement and they need to work on ensuring they also benefit from the tourist season.
If it was done by like government, we could have said, okay, that they need to level the playing field. But if it's a private individual or private business persons bringing in the ships and not government per se, right? You would have to have dialogue with those individuals to sort of share the ship. The playing field is such that where there are persons, even ordinary persons who go online and get their tours sold online. So they come in with their signs as well, right, and collect their passengers. So it's a matter of marketing too, right? So I say we have work to do. That's what I must say.
There were also 2 cruise ships docked at Port Elizabeth Beckery today. This is reportedly one of the best years for the cruise ship season in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, with 312 cruise calls anticipated and 10 inaugural calls. Larissa Pugsley-Kidd, SVG TV News.
There are some 56 programs that the Ministry of Transport and Works is expected to commence work on this year, including 19 projects funded by the Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, and other funding agencies. Acting Prime Minister and Minister of Transport and Works, Montgomery Daniel, said this on NBC Radio's Face-to-Face program today, that these programs are important for the ministry, which will also assist other ministries with their work programs.
Let's take, for instance, the Ministry of Education. On a yearly basis, the Ministry of Transport and Works, through BRAXA, continues to do a school repair program. There are other schools that are being built to ensure that there are places for our school children, like in the case of the Girls High School at Annesville, other such schools, the Sandy Bay Secondary School, much more work of this kind is being done through the Ministry of Transport and Works, and the Ministry of Education in those physical projects really depend on the Ministry of Transport and Works and its technical team. So too is the Ministry of Health, where work is being done on several clinics and hospitals all across the country. You have within the Ministry of Tourism, again, a number of projects. At the moment, through BRAXA, work is being done on the Villa Boardwalk. A number of tourism sites, works are being done. There is to be the Chateau National Park. As a matter of fact, it's just on Monday of this week, the technical team of the Ministry of Transport and Works and that of the Ministry of Tourism met and had very long discussions as to how this work will be progressing through the year. And so the Ministry of Transport and Works has quite a lot of work to do outside of its programs identified within the Ministry of Transport and Works.
On the National Road Rehabilitation Program, Minister Daniels said it has a total sum for the next 3 years of $120 million, but they have identified approximately $25 million to start the project this year.
Now, already 86 projects have been identified in total under this project. But though you have 86 projects identified, all of those projects are not ready. They are not ready because, to the extent that the designs have to be done to ensure that you have the work done. However, I can say to you that of the 86 projects already, we have 7 projects ready, and they are ready to go as of the, I won't say the 1st, I will say the 2nd of April. The reason why, of course, I won't say the 1st is that the 1st of April.
You don't want to be fooling anybody. Right.
But yes, we have already started some of the work through BRAXA. Let's take, for instance, we already start work on the road going up to Longwall. We have started ripping up that road already. We want to make sure that these kind of preliminary works are being done. We also, from Longwall, we want to head up to Dorsetshire Hill. These are roads that are being used more frequently in and out of City Kingstown. And so we have BRAXA already identified for doing these roads.
Also on radio today, the acting Prime Minister acknowledged the 6th year anniversary of the operation of the Argyle International Airport, which commenced on Valentine's Day, February 14, 2017. Minister Daniels said over the years, the airport has attracted several international flights, with more expected. Energy issues are likely to be at the forefront of the 44th regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of Governments of CARICOM, which begins in the Bahamas today. Speaking at Guyana's International Energy Expo yesterday, Prime Minister Dr. Alf Gonzalez said energy issues will be raised at the CARICOM summit. He told the more than 500 delegates at the Guyana Expo that Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the whole Caribbean contribute very little to global warming, as he offered support for Guyana's oil exploration to spur development and help with the transition to clean energy.
Opportunities. They say to countries like Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago, and Prime Minister Rowley addressed this. They say, well, we're reducing, you have to reduce emissions by 45% by 2030, net zero by 2050. So what do you want to do? You want Guyana to leave the oil and gas in the ground? You can't. And at the first moment they have a problem with the war in Ukraine, you start to ramp up your coal. You start to pollute more. You say, well, this is a moment of your necessity. Guyana is saying what I'm doing is not just necessary, it's desirable, because simultaneously Guyana is ensuring that it doesn't trouble its forests. And even with the growing oil and gas industry in Guyana, it is on target with the balance that Ivan was speaking about to get to some of these targets, while at the same time the developed countries and some emerging ones have had an earlier stage of industrialization and polluted the world. So this is a battle which we will have to fight in this contemporary period. Leadership is therefore critical.
Speaking on the developmental challenges in the Caribbean, PM Gonzalez pointed to the issue of crime and citizen insecurity, noting that it is a problem in every country in the region.
How can we harness oil, harness energy to deal with that? Well, it helps to provide resources. But if we think that resources alone can fight crime and insecurity, we're fooling ourselves. That's why I started with the individual, and I said the state can't create families. I began with that when I talking about the state, and I did so for a reason, because I wanted to come to this issue. The persons who are listening to me in this audience and those further afield, as a family, you can't not inculcate certain values in your children, in your home, especially young males, because young males are those who are committing most of the crimes and most of the serious ones. You can't wait until that boy is 14 or 15 and then you say you can't do anything with him. You say it's Keith problem, it's orphan problem, it's Ralph problem. Well, it's all of our problem. And we need for parents to be able to address that. Whether you have oil money or you don't have oil money. Oil money can help to provide support services and mechanisms, but you have to teach, and the young people have to know that they have to take advantage of the opportunities in education, in training, and the mothers and fathers have to understand their own responsibilities there. The state can do certain things, but you can't be an atomized individual and go about your own business. No, it's not going to work. This is why we have to do this frank and honest reassessment as to where we are and where we are going. We must know the times and we must act accordingly.
PM Gonzalez further emphasized to the delegates that the control of serious crime is one of the developmental issues in the region which must be addressed with a level of urgency.
The oil money will help us to buy more police equipment, train them better, give them more vehicles, have more police officers, all of that. But police work is not the cause of crime or causes of crimes. If you look, young males who don't get proper education, who drop out of school, the families don't pay attention to them, the churches don't do their work, because a lot of churches now do good work, but many of them, they have become places of entertainment. How many times you don't hear them shouting, church, make some noise. I hear that when I go to listen to a Machel Montano concert. And then a little after, they will say, as an afterthought, make some nice for the Lord. So we have a number of things. The oil money can help us to fix certain things and to provide the infrastructure and the support services. But if all the oil money going to do is to make us buy more cars from Japan and buy them very cheap, so we clog up the roads, because Japan has decided that by the year 2030, most of their vehicles are going to be either electrical vehicles or hybrid vehicles. So they're dumping their second-hand vehicles very cheaply. In Trinidad, in Guyana, in St. Vincent, in Colombia. That's an issue. That's an energy issue too. But we have to handle that with our population.
The hierarchy of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force under the leadership of Colin John continues to reach out to members of the public in an effort to forge a better working relationship and curb criminal activities. In light of this, on Valentine's Day yesterday, the Commissioner led a delegation of senior police officers on their second undertaking of walkthroughs in the community of Paul's Avenue in Kingstown. A news release from the Police Public Relations Department says the Commissioner and his delegation interacted with residents and bystanders in the community. The residents outlined a number of security-related concerns, which the Commissioner and his team took time to address, and also to reassure the residents who reportedly expressed pleasure and satisfaction with the initiatives undertaken by the RSVG Police Force and applauded the Commissioner and his team for taking time to walk through the community. The release said the Commissioner noted that in order to protect, serve, and give the citizens of SVG a sense of safety and security, the RSVG Police Force is urging all citizens to assist the police in the fight against crime. Local fishermen are hoping that the VHF Marine Radios, which were promised to them by the Ministry of Fisheries, could be given out soon. Fishermen are facing rougher seas during this time of year with an increased risk of being lost at sea. As we hear in this report, they say the promised VHF Marine Radios will assist them greatly as they ply their trade.
We did all the necessary things that they require. The last thing that we did, we went in a fishing boat outside Fort, which is down here, and the Coast Guard and another area and another boat, another. So we can really know how to communicate that we can get rescued. They said they're going to give us the radio the next week, the next month, and right now, this is 2023, and we in February. Up to now, I never get feedback to know if we're going to get this year, next year, the year after. So I just highlighting it that at least when they hear this tape, they could say, well, Mr. Jack is not lying.
The experienced fisherman has since invested in a VHF radio and is of the view that the VHF Marine radios are better than having a cell phone, especially bearing in mind that his uncle, who he lost at sea along with the boat owner, had a cell phone.
They were going to Canawan and the engine foot mashed up. They were calling, but they never get no help. And it was very sad at the time. At the time, I did just order my engine, and through the pandemic, the breakdown, I didn't able to get the engine in time. Because no ship was traveling, there no plane, the pandemic, everything shut down. So then, I don't know how many days it lasts out there before they die, I don't know. So me personally, I rather to call like a fishing boat. Like if I close to the land and I can get signal, I will call somebody that I know that can quickly come and give me help. But sometimes you call the Coast Guard and they don't turn up. Not every time, but sometimes.
The former Rose Place fisherman says safety comes first, which was echoed by President of the National Fisherfolk Organization, Winsbert Harry, who had many mishaps at sea.
But one of the things I noticed within the training, they give out the life jacket, they give out the ice boxes, they give out nets. But up to today, there's no fisher folks receive these VHF radio. And I think I want to know if they is in good working condition still. I would encourage the fisher folks still, not because they receive these radios, is to take your VHF radio at sea, because when you're gone out there, I tell you, I had difficulties at sea. And it is not easy when you find yourself in these conditions. It is rough.
But we fishermen need to step it up and look for ourselves because the government is not looking for us. So when you have like a training session, we should at least attend it and able to achieve certain things but beneficial for us. Because the safety at sea is number one. Money will always come. When you die, you will not make money. Someone else will make that money.
Only last week, fishermen were rescued and had to have their boat towed as it was reported that their boat developed engine problems. Larissa Pugsley Kidd, SVG TV News.
A new policy on nutrition is being considered for schools across St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This is according to Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, who on the Issues at Hand program last Sunday on VFM said he had a meeting of the Interministerial Committee on Health dealing with food security and nutrition, and that the proposed nutrition policy for schools will involve this type of food being sold in shops and trays in the vicinity of schools.
And we considered draft policy papers. They've been in the draft, they have to be updated. PAHO and WHO are helping us, CAF are helping us. A specific policy for schools, the program for nutrition in schools, and also for the shops and so on, and the people, the traders who sell around the schools, and the kind of sugary drinks they sell, and a whole heap of the concourse. We want to see them still continuing business, but selling healthier foods. And to deal with the school feeding program where there has been improvement, but to make sure that it is properly monitored. And there is a larger policy paper, draft policy paper, dealing with it from infants to 17-year-olds.
PM Gonsalves also highlighted the issue of obesity, which he said is a problem in the country more serious than undernourishment, as the data shows.
I said to Orlando Brewster and his team who were at the meeting, I said to address the question of undernourishment with this 7-point-something% of the population. You can identify the 7-point-something%. You're talking about 2,000 homes, less than 8,000 people. Joel.
Yes.
That's not difficult to identify, you know. We have people across the country. We have 39 clinics. We have hospitals. We have people working in that field. We'll know those who are undernourished. We have social workers in schools. We have community development officers. You see the point I'm making? You identify all of those 2,000 homes. That's not difficult to do in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And you will find that most, if not all of them, are getting some form of public assistance, some form of social safety net. Maybe we need to strengthen the safety net there, maybe to see what they're getting, what the money is being spent on, and so on and so forth. You see where I'm coming from? To deal with that. But if, as the data show, that your obesity levels are about 28%, 27, 28%, certainly in excess of a quarter, moving up to 30%. You're dealing now with a problem of 27, 30,000 persons who are obese. That's a big number.
The World Pediatric Project, WPP, is hosting another dual mission in St. Vincent at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital with both ophthalmology and plastic surgery teams. A news release said the mission was made possible through the support and sponsorship of the Maria Holder Memorial Trust, who remains committed to ensuring no Vincentian child is left behind, with access to consistent specialist care and treatment provided by the WPP. The news release said the clinic day on Sunday resulted in the ophthalmology team assessing 45 children, with 17 scheduled for surgeries throughout the week, while the plastic surgery team saw 34 children, with 15 scheduled for surgery. Of the total number of children seen, there were 5 regional patients, 2 from St. Lucia and 1 from St. Kitts. The next upcoming WPP mission will be physical therapy, slated for April 16th to 22nd. The Bellaire Health Center is one of several health centers that has been identified for significant enhancement this year. The health center is expected to be transformed into a polyclinic. Area Representative Curtis King said to accommodate the work, the clinic will be temporarily relocated to the Daphne Community Center.
To accommodate that work, we will have to relocate temporarily this facility so that the services being offered will be offered elsewhere. We have identified the community center at Daphne as the place that this clinic will be relocated to, and soon we'll be doing some work on the Daphne Community Center to enhance it so that it could host or accommodate the sort of services that are needed and that will be provided by the clinic. So that work will commence soon. We have a little issue because there's someone staying in the community center that we have to relocate. But we have done the preparatory work to ensure that the building up there can be enhanced during this first to second quarter of this year. And then we'll move the clinic services to that location and commence the work on this building.
Minister King said the design for the upgraded facility at Bellaire is almost complete.
The designs are almost completed, and soon we will be commencing work to enhance this clinic. Well, to be quite honest, I have not seen the final design, so I would not be in a position yet to indicate cost and length of time. But soon we'll have that information and we'll share it with the general public. Well, presently, as I'm saying, it's a clinic. We are trying to enhance it so that certain services that are not available now will be available. But certainly, there are going to be other services that you must seek elsewhere.
Minister King further noted that the people in West St. George will soon be closer to accessing more health services, especially with the construction of the Acute hospital that is scheduled to start soon.
To the lower end of this constituency, not too far from here, less than, I would say roughly about a mile and a half, is Annesville, where we are going to be locating the referral, acute referral hospital, and that is going to be a major facility with all of the major services that one would need whenever one is in a situation of a health problem, major problem. Yes, that will commence this year in the fourth period, fourth quarter. But look, we have said before that this project, we have already secured the funding. We have had to make adjustments to these designs based on the submission of the health people on different occasions, so that what we have decided upon is the final designs, and hence those are already approved, and hence the work should commence in the fourth quarter. It has nothing to do. In fact, the location of the acute referral center is going to be within the ambit of the old runway.
30 schools are expected to participate in the 2023 Primary Schools Performing Arts Festival, PRISPAF, scheduled for February 24th at the Russell's Auditorium. Speaking at a media launch held yesterday at the UWI School of Continuing Studies conference room, Minister of Culture Carlos James commended the students from the participating schools for their high levels of enthusiasm. The minister noted that the arts play a critical role in a child's development.
But what we're doing is really putting in place the framework in which in 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, you can see all of the artistic expression that has been honed, the skills that are being developed now will emerge, and we'll have another Rodney Small, or as Dexter mentioned, another Kevin Little, or Skinny Fabulous, or Problem Child. And the investment that we put into our students now will bear the fruits of tomorrow. And we must ensure that we continue to work with the respective schools, the Department of Culture, various stakeholders in ensuring that we continue to give support to students, their teachers, in developing the creative arts and the industry that many oftentimes go unnoticed, a lot of the hard work that is behind the scenes in developing our creative arts sector.
Minister James further added that when hotels such as the Royal Mill and Sandals are completed, the importance of the arts as a part of the island's tourism product will be even more evident.
Bringing some element back of the culture and the arts within Kingston, preferably Heritage Square. At the end of every month, I did give this commitment that the ministry will work with the creatives to ensure that we provide the avenue and platform for them to express themselves. And I do believe that it is something that must come from the creatives. We want to provide the platform for you. At the hotels and restaurants, we'll also merge that element of hospitality and gastronomy with the creative arts. Because in this new era of transformation which we're seeing in the tourism sector, a lot of what will take place maybe as soon as a year, as we're talking here, a year from now, with the opening of Sandals, Royal Mill, Marriott Hotel, Maya Suite, La View, all of these tourism infrastructure products, the hotels, are going to require entertainment. They're going to require persons who are gifted and talented in not just music, but the performing arts.
The Culture Minister also outlined a few policy initiatives that the government is developing in an effort to make the arts and entertainment a focal point, namely expanding and modernizing the Peace Memorial Hall and creating spaces for performers in areas such as Bellevue, Petit Bodel, and Heritage Square.
This year we will start the preparatory work for the construction of 2 cultural hubs in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And they will be zoned respectively on the northeastern side and the northwestern side of the island, in Bellevue and Petit Bodel. Similarly, we will undertake work to rehabilitate the Peace Memorial Hall in the center. And these cultural hubs, which will give support to the existing infrastructure at Peace Memorial Hall, will provide an avenue for creatives, both youth and adult, to spread their wings, so to speak, and to develop themselves in a way in which the infrastructure will be put in. We'll have a recording studio on both the leeward and the windward side, theater arts room, an auditorium, a pan room, a studio for dance. All of these components will provide the space for them.
PRISPAF is being co-sponsored by Juicy and the Eastern Caribbean Group of Companies, ECGC Limited, to the tune of $10,000.